and welcome to today's episode of pianoTV. So I wanted to do something a little bit different today. I didn't plan this video. I was just kind of out for a walk today in the snow, and I was thinking it would be kind of interesting. Well, I don't know, maybe it'll be really boring. But I want to show you guys how I practice. I just want to start to finish. I mean, I'm obviously not going to show you my entire practice session because it's going to be about an hour. So I'll condense things a little bit, but yeah, I just wanted to walk you through my process, and I don't even know what I'm going to practice today. I gotta pick some things out. And yeah, hopefully it gives you something interesting to think about and give you some new ideas. So a couple things that are important to my piano practice well-being. Got my flats. I also wear yoke pants, something comfy, not sitting at the piano in uncomfortable clothes, because it's a workout, right? It basically is. I sweat when I play piano. I don't know if that's just me. Gotta have tea or something too. Something to keep the motivation up. So the first part of my piano practice session, probably for 10 minutes or so, it's 25 after 2. I'm just gonna do some light playing, some light warming up. Nothing that's too strenuous. I'll probably roll through a few scales. I haven't done these in a long time, so maybe it'll be horrible. My index finger on my left hand is just a little bit sore, so I'm gonna go even gentler. I'm not even gonna do scales or anything like that. I'm gonna just try to play a song that I know off the top of my head. So the first thing I'm going to work on, I decided to pull out, I have a Grieg book of his lyric pieces. This is intermediate to advanced, mostly intermediate though. I'm going to just, I've played through a few of these songs before, but I'm actually going to work on learning one of them. So I'm probably going to spend the next 20 minutes on this song. And I'm just going to go through it part by part. I'll walk you through it a little bit. So what I usually do is start with the melody and make it really expressive right off the bat to make sure I'm playing it accurately, and then I'll work on playing it accurately, make sure I'm bringing out the melody and I'm not forgetting it even when I add other parts to it. I'll put it together really slowly just to make sure I'm getting everything. Piano volume, always looking at dynamics even when I start. So I played really slow, I pedaled, I was working on dynamics. Everything that I want the song to be, I started right off the bat. I went super slow. You want to go slow enough that you can kind of play through it without making too many mistakes. So I'm just gonna isolate this line for the next 5 minutes and just keep working through it the way I have been. So I feel I'm starting to get a pretty good grasp of the first line. We'll see what happens here. My goal is to stay really loose when I play, so I try to always be mindful of tension. Anytime my fingers start to turn into claw hands, I try to go slower, do something that'll help me relax. So I'm playing this pretty gently, and the volume is piano, and it's not very fast in general, so it's not a song that's really gonna stress me out anyway, but unless it gets into some crazy notes later on. So once I've kind of figured that out, one thing I always do, this is a small thing, but I think it's important to mention. So I've practiced the first line, I've practiced the second line, but I haven't practiced bridging them together. And that's where a lot of hesitations and pauses will happen. You probably notice that when you play a song, it's you play the first line, then you gotta wait a few seconds before you get into the second line. So I always specifically practice bridging the gap, and it means having to start in a weird spot. I have a tied E flat here, and I haven't started in this spot before, so it might take a couple tries, but I'll go slow. So I'll do that again from the exact same spot. So now I'm gonna go back even further. I'll start 2 bars back and bridge it again, because same thing can happen. The further back you start, the harder it is to kind of remember your bridge. So I always like working backwards a little bit in this way. So now that I've been playing this for about 20 minutes, I'm probably gonna stop. I'm gonna put it away for the day and do something else. So I know this is different from some people, but I don't usually sit down and learn an entire piece. This is only 1 page, it's only 5 lines. It's not super challenging, but I just feel my attention span isn't that good. So 20 minutes of intense focus is the most you can ask for me before I need a little bit of a break. And learning a piece of music requires so much focus, right? So at this point, after 20 minutes, I feel like I can kind of confidently play the first 2 lines, and I've read through the last 3. I haven't practiced it in depth in the second half, but like I did enough of it that when I come to it tomorrow, it's not going to be like completely new foreign material. It'll be something I played through a couple times, so when I go to do detail work on it, it's not going to be so rough. So I've been at it for about half an hour. I've done some warm-ups. I did 20 minutes of learning a piece. I need a break. My brain hurts. I know it hasn't been that long, but it's long enough that like just even a little pause, like 5 minutes, makes a big difference. So I'm just gonna wander around, and once my fingers feel normal again, I'll start again. Hey Kat, how's it going? So the next thing I like to do, it's a little easier on the brain. I am going to turn you a little bit. I'm gonna work on something that I already know. I've played it fairly recently because I've taught this fairly recently. The thing is, I say as a piano teacher, so I know how to play a lot of songs badly because I don't really sit down and practice along a lot of the songs I teach, at least not to the point of being able to play like 100 songs very well. So anyway, I've been working on this one recently, so I like to just review songs that I've like kind of working on, but they're not quite perfect, just to get them to a point where like I could perform it and I would not embarrass myself. Like that. Some of these like this. That is powerful. It's like the lowest bass notes I can possibly hit in a 5-note chord. Love it. So cool. I really don't like making mistakes, so I usually try to go as slow as I need to kind of avoid that. It's not that making mistakes is bad, because everyone makes mistakes, but I don't want to practice something wrong and then get stuck playing it the wrong way because I'm just used to hitting the same mistake over and over. So I usually try to be really careful. And then as I get more brave, I speed it up. Sometimes it's kind of fun to be silly too. Like if I'm starting to get bored and my attention span's fading, it's like, well, how can I make this just like over the top dramatic? Okay, so this song is fortissimo, which means really, really loud right off the bat. Largo, so very slow. All right, so how can I like overemphasize everything and just like go over the top? And then, I don't know what I gotta do. Let's find out. Of course I gotta hit the notes when I do it though. Sometimes that's all it takes to, I don't know, think a little bit more creatively and also just like lighten up, because in keeping with staying relaxed and not like being too tense, you also want to like stay in a good mood, because you're not going to want to practice if you're just like, you know, mad at yourself the whole time you're doing it, like, oh, you did it wrong, do it again. So I like to try to keep lighthearted. I mean, I don't always succeed at this. A lot of the times when I'm recording and I'm on the 50th take, you know, I get a little frustrated, but that's my philosophy. I don't always achieve it, but little things like that, like being over dramatic when you're playing. Or I can completely change the character. Instead of like Largo and really forte, I'm gonna, I don't know, let's make this like a lighthearted song. To kind of review my practice session, I start with a warm-up, something light, something easy, something fun, and I progress to the most difficult work of the day, usually for about 20 minutes, usually learning something new. Then I move on to something I've like can play pretty well, but still need some work on it. And then now I'm just going to spend like the next 2 or 3 minutes sight reading. So I just picked up a random book. This is like a really old grade 3 RCM book. And I'm gonna subject myself to what I make my students do almost every time I see them. I turn to a random page, I'm gonna just try to play through a little bit of this. So I'm just gonna do the first line for brevity. Couple rules: when you're sight reading, rhythm is more important than getting the notes. You wanna try to make sure your rhythm is really, really secure when you're playing. It's just a good skill to develop. Like if you ever wanna play with someone, like say you have a violin friend and they're like, hey, so let's do a little jam, and then you know, they're playing and you're playing and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm never good at this part, and you start making a bunch of mistakes. It's better to just kind of like power through the mistakes and keep going than to stop every 5 seconds and be like, sorry, violin friend, let us go back, let us stop and start. It's better just to kind of maintain momentum. So I like practicing that for the sake of just being able to adapt to playing more than just with yourself. So that's what I'm gonna do. Go as slow as I need to get it right. So that basically sums up my practice session. I'm gonna wrap it up because my camera is pretty much dead after doing all of this recording. And yeah, that was about an hour. And if I was in like an intense practicing phase, I would do this 3 times a day, just to get about 3 hours worth in. yeah, and just kind of like spread it throughout the day so I'm not doing a whole bunch all at once. Because if I do more than an hour at once, my mind really can't focus that well. Like piano is hard work, especially when you're learning how to play certain things. So I always make sure to get the breaks, but an hour goes by really fast. I'm not sure how long most of you are used to playing for, but for me, an hour is like nothing. It just goes. It's easy to do more. But I recommend doing at least an hour if you can, especially if you're doing like 3 songs on the go at any given time. Anyway, I hope this video was useful for you to like kind of, I don't know, get inside my head a little bit. What I want you to do, I really encourage you to share with me your practice routine. So leave it in the comments. Just give me like text if you want to do that, like just type out what you do. Or I mean, if you have a video you want to link to in the comments, that's great too. I'd love to see how you guys practice and what you work. Anyway, thank you for watching this video and see you next time. Oh, very nice. My cat's barfing. I'm gonna turn this off so you don't listen to that.